Well, hello again and welcome to Arthur Brown Photography. Today I'm going to talk about my new wireless microphone system. Sound, audio is a very important part of any video, and as a musician I have access to lots of different types of microphones and audio equipment. Now, previously I have been using either a wired Rode Lavallier mic, which is okay, you know, for sitting doing, talking to the camera like this, and I suppose it is okay if I want to get a walk around if I use an extension lead, but you know, I tend to fall over things anyway, so. And also, from time to time, I use the microphone I'm using at the moment, which is the Rode video mic, which is a nice small microphone. Sits on the top of the camera or on a small handle, as I've got it now at the side. And it's got its own fluffy little dead kitten on it, and it's pretty good for outdoor work. Apart from that, I do have a selection of other microphones as well, condensers and things like that. So if I want to use the Sony FX3 handle, I do have some condenser mics. I've got some short ones, and I've also got a great big long shotgun mic, which is, you know, great, provided using a slightly longer lens, otherwise you can see it in a wide angle. But one of the things that I saw in the sales after Christmas this year, in the new year, was a new model from Neewer. Something does it? There we go. Alright, Neewer wireless microphone system, and that is the CM28. CX, it says on that. So comes in this nice little case, which is actually the charger as well. It's got a USB-C port on the back of it, and you just stick that in and it charges. Now there's two transmitters and one receiver in this, so you've got, if you're doing interviews, you've got one for you as the interviewer and one for your subject as well, and they both transmit to this receiver, which will sit on anywhere really. It'll go into your hot shoe, cold shoe, sit on, clip onto a strap, and that receives a signal from a wireless. I presume it's Bluetooth or some other magic. And these are the microphone units. And again, these just clip onto your clothing, clip onto lapel, tie, collar, that type of thing. Also in the box there's a couple of adapters, so you can use them with mobile phones. There's one for USB-C and there's one that's designed for the Apple's proprietary phone socket, which is disappearing anyway now. So. But as I say, that clips in there and it charges them all up and keeps them in a state of readiness for when you want to use them. In terms of cables, you can just plug it in on the receiver. There's an out, and you just plug that into the 3.5mm socket on your on the camera. So there is some setup buttons there, and there's also a headphone outlet as well if you want to monitor. The great advantage of this though is that you are going to get a good audio signal whether you're sat in front of the camera like I am at the moment, or if you getting up and walking about, particularly if you're doing documentary work, say outside. You can walk away from the camera and you've got no loss of volume then, in the same way that you would have with a fixed microphone that's on the camera. And there's no leads to trip over, as I find with my wired Lavalier mic, which I must admit, the Rode Lavalier mic is very good. Now, I don't know what advantage does this have over the competition with the likes of Rode and DJI. Well, price is the main thing. This is a lot cheaper. And I will say, for the sake of any argument now, I didn't buy this with my own money. I've got no connection with the company whatsoever, apart from having one of their flash guns as well. The unit does come with a number of different cables for charging. USB-C charger cable. I presume the other one is an Apple. It is, yes, an Apple cable. Also, it comes with some dinky little, right, I don't know what you call these, because, you know, if I'm using a big shotgun mic with a furry tube on it, I call it a dead cat. And for the Rode video mic, which is smaller, I have a dead kitten. So if we're looking at different sizes, this must be a dead mouse, I suppose. If I can get it out of the packet, there we go. Now there's a couple of these, one for each of the microphones. So if I just slip one of the microphones out of the charger unit again, if you look at that end of the microphone, or I'll just have to wait for it's not that quick on focusing this Sanyam lens there. I'm using 35mm. You'll see there's that silver disc there is the microphone input. While I've got that up there, come on, focus again, please. There we go. You'll notice the little black hole as well. That is actually a 3.5 input for another microphone if you wanted to use a microphone other than the one that's built into the unit, and still have the wireless facility from here onwards, as it were. So right, so that just clips onto there like that, and then you've got a instant wind protection. Now I don't know how well these stay on here. That's the intro. Oh no, you have to turn them, that's why. Yeah, you turn them once and then they're quite firmly clipped to it. So now, my real first complaint with this is that you can't leave the wind protectors on the microphone unit and put it back into the charger and close the charger down for it to charge. You know, why? It would have been a much easier, or it would have been difficult to design it in such a way. So that means that every time I want to use this and then recharge it, I have to take the dead mouse off it, which, as it's just a little plastic clip that turns, eventually it's going to wear, or more likely I'm just going to lose that. And as you only get one for each microphone, I can see that being a problem straight away. But that's the way they've designed it, so we'll have to live with it. Right, I'll turn it off again, and I shall put this carefully away in the box, so that if I'm going out to do any kind of recording in windy conditions, I will have my dead mouse ready. Right, we'll give this a test. Right, at the moment I'm using the video mic, as I said, so I'm going to stop the video now, swap these microphones over, I have tried these out once, just on the last video I made for the channel. They work fine. The only thing I did notice straight away is there's a lot more gain in this than there is in the video mic. So straight away I have to turn the gain down in the camera to avoid any red lining on the audio input. Right, we'll do some microphone swapping around. Right, I've swapped over the microphones now. I mean, looking at the display on the camera, it's actually still just hitting the red line very occasionally. Now I've had to drop the gain on the audio input from 22 with the Rode video mic down to about 10 for the Neewer wireless microphone. Obviously I won't know till I've reviewed the film whether this sounds any different or not from the previous section of filming I've done. So. One thing, the annoying thing I have found with this, as well as the dead cat situation, is that the clips on the, I know this is the microphone unit, but this has got a similar clip on the transmitter. Again, if I hold that up, it's fine if you want to clip it to something, but it's also shaped to fit into a hot shoe on top of the camera. And it seems to, if you put it into the hot shoe on the camera itself, it seems to fit fine. It's snug, secure. But if you put it into say a cold shoe, say on, so I've got, because I'm using the hot shoe space for the monitor on this one. When I'm recording now, if I put this into the cold shoe on the cage or the cold shoe that's on top of my side handle, it's actually quite loose. However, because there is this tie clip thing on it, but what I've done here is I've just clipped it to one of the cable that feeding the monitor, so it's going to. If this does seem to work okay, I think it's probably going to provide a wireless audio facility for about a third of the price of competition. So now one thing I want to do before I switch off is to test the range of it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to leave you here sat looking at a blank screen for a few minutes, but I'll keep the audio on and I'm going to walk away and we'll see whether the sound quality or the volume drops off or we get any crackles. And I'm going to count the number of steps that I'm doing as I go. So, right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm round the doorway to the next room. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and I'm now at my front door. Now, the dog's looking at me as if I've gone mad because I'm talking to myself. Right, I'm going to walk back now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Right, how's that? Did the sound keep up with me? I'll have to review this back and see anyway. Once I've done that, I'll do a little outro. I didn't notice any degradation in the signal strength or quality or any crackling or anything as I walked right to the other end of the house. So quite impressed with that actually. So I mean that kind of thing's useful if you're doing a any documentary work where you're walking about, pointing at things and just doing stuff outdoors. So quite pleased with that. Right, in terms of the levels, you know, there's that old saying, if all else fails, read the instructions. But actually, the instructions to this aren't brilliant. But when I read it through again, it did say that when you turned on the receiver, you should change. You should set the dB level to 2 or 3 bars out of the 5 bars, and then adjust the levels on the camera to get a good signal to noise ratio. Well, fine, that's all obvious stuff, but what it doesn't tell you is how to set those dB levels. So by trial and error, I worked out that if I turned the receiver off and then turned it on and then pressed down one of the yellow buttons on the bottom, it did fly back to 0 and then creep up 1 bar at a time. So I think obviously I was, by not adjusting it, I was overloading the signal into the camera somewhat. But there again, I did decrease the gain in the camera, and it seemed to have come out without too much trouble. The only other thing I missed as well, when because I didn't read the instructions, is that you can set the 2 microphones as a stereo pair, or if you're just using one microphone, you can set it to record mono on one track, or the same signal to 2 tracks as a, well, it won't be stereo in that case, will it, but pseudo stereo. And I suppose you could use 2 microphones if you wanted a true stereo soundtrack. But I must admit, so far I'm pretty impressed with the Neewer CM28, especially for the price as well. So anyway, that's enough for today. I just ask you to look out for my for next video, and I'll just say goodbye from Arthur Brown Photography.